Good morning, Sunday morning, and I just released a video making these guys right here. Just finished these actually yesterday afternoon. Put the second coat of water-based polyurethane mainly on the face frame and also on the end panel here that shows. There's only one end panel that shows. I painted the rest, excluding the back and the inside, to seal it up as best I can. If you recall the mold problem I had, which I'm hoping to solve in the future. First of all, the dehumidifier, but also a fan situation that I want to set up so that it'll turn on in the evening when it cools down and circulate, fresh air through, and that'll stop the mold growth. Anyway, so I was going to get these installed today, thinking about it anyway. I got this piece of foam to go on the, I don't know if you can see it, maybe you can, concrete down there. That's the only piece of concrete that's left showing. The way this garage, my workshop, is built, there's a concrete slab, and then there's a concrete stub wall or a knee wall that's about 12 inches tall. Put around that. That's the entire perimeter except for the doorway that used to be up there. And what I did was when I redid the outside, like this, put the plywood siding on the outside, I actually put 2 inches of foam on that concrete to insulate it. And then on the inside here, I added 1.5 inches of foam. So the idea, of course, is to make the shop as easy to heat as possible. Not that I have it hot in here, but it also helps in the summer when it gets hot outdoors. It never gets hot in here. Anyway, so I had to go at my shed, which is accessible today because we've had quite a few mild days where it actually rained and it melted a lot of the snow. And then this morning it got really cold and it froze all the snow up, so you can actually walk on top of it, what's left. And I got out there and I got my level, which was out there for me to do the shelves. So I guess I should make a video on how to install these, because I don't think I've ever made a video on installing base cabinets before. The only difficulty is that's a fairly tight spot, right? So kind of tricky to film it. Anyway, so let's talk about these for a little bit. I made these better than I normally would for a workshop, and that's because I know these are going to work for me. I know that I'm not going to be getting rid of these in a year or two because they're not working out. I absolutely 100% know that these are going to do what I want them to do. So I'm spending the extra time and I'm spending the extra money to make them the way I would do if it was a permanent installation somewhere, say even for a kitchen. Like I said in the video, these are good enough for a kitchen. These are better than most kitchen cabinets that you get these days, actually. So, yeah, the whole project's going to be like that. I went out the other day, and you can probably see some of the plywood here. This is for drawers. This is 1/2 inch poplar plywood. I bought this. It's more expensive than the pine stuff I used for the back of this. I bought this because it's flatter. It's about $10 a sheet more expensive than this stuff. So you're talking an extra 30 bucks. That's the thing about material costs, right? People say, okay, well, a sheet of plywood, is $70, $80. Yes. But look at all the stuff you can get from that and compare it to like even going out in the morning and buying coffee. Like if you do that for a couple weeks, you've got a sheet of plywood. All right, you can make your own coffee at home and save a lot of money. So I managed to save a lot of money through the things that I don't do. So I don't mind spending it on the things that I enjoy, and this would be one of them. There's you know, it's good to use junk sometimes. Good to recycle stuff, and people like to see that, of course. But you're only going to get something that's so good. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that I did here in the past was done with not so great quality material. Like even my tool board up there, that is just spruce sheathing plywood. That was like $16 a sheet when I made that tool board. And I opted for that because it was cheap, of course. And I also knew that I could take it a step better by planing it. So all the pieces that are on the face there, I ran those through the planer, right? I selected a sheet with very few knots, like when I bought the stuff, and I ran that face through the planer. That made it nice and smooth. So it looks way better than it actually cost. So that's typically what you do. I mean, you can go and find stuff on the curb that people are throwing out and try to salvage stuff out of that. The only thing is you're going to be spending time. First of all, you're spending time looking for it, unless you're specifically out, you know, driving around, you see something. Then second of all, you got to load it up into whatever you're driving, bring it back, you know, strip it down. You probably got stuff left over that's no good that you're going to have to dispose of, and so on and so forth. I find it just easier, usually, to go and buy what I want and use that. So that's what I'm doing in this situation here, right? And the results will be good. It's like my miter saw station here. It looks great. You know, the only part that I don't like is the cabinet that used to be on this wall over here. I originally built it for over here above the old miter saw station, which was radically different from this. And then I moved it over here, and it looks okay, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good looking as the miter saw station itself. And I've been thinking, and it's not as tall as it can be either. So I'm thinking about changing that as well. The only thing is I put a lot of time in the two end units that are here, the one for paint and the one that has all my spring clamps on one side and the edge clamps, and on the other side has all my files. So I would have to either redo that or try to fit them in somewhere else. But I'm thinking about building a new unit for up there that's not so deep, because that's the problem with upper cabinets like that. Like on a deep unit, like you can't really use what the space is in the back because it's too deep. You can't reach it, right? So, and then this can be taller, and it can be made to look better. So, but then I'm not in a rush to do that. I got to get this stuff done first, right? And also there's some stuff I want to do up there, right? And I may actually build a new tool board that goes right into the corner, because that one was originally made to go right here. And that's, you know, that's why I'm making these cabinets. I made them units like this so that in the future, if I change something, I can easily take these out, because they'll just be screwed in place. Take these out and move them to wherever they're going to go. And they'll work because they're modular, right? And so it'll be basically the same deal for the rest of them. It'll be a single unit above with that fold down thing that I talked about before. And you know what? That's what I assume when I'm making these videos, and I'm talking to people that are already watched. Like, this is not a movie. This is a series. Okay, so in order to follow the story, you have to watch the ones that came before. So yeah, it's going to be the one above. That's kind of one piece, and then there'll be this two single upper cabinets beside that, and exactly the same stuff that you would find in the kitchen. So, like I said before, that's kind of the way I'm phrasing it, that these are kitchen cabinets, because they are exactly that. Okay? Anyway, I think I've rambled long enough, so I'll go and start putting these in.
Don't call me stupid.
Oh, right! To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people! I've known sheep that could outwit you. I've worn dresses with higher IQs, but you think you're an intellectual, don't you, ape?
Apes don't read philosophy.
Yes, they do, Otto. They just don't understand it.